And look, we're live. Amazing. The power of technology. I am so excited. We have such a wonderful Goal Chat Live today. If you're joining us for the first time, I'm Debra Eckerling. I'm the author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals, and founder of the DEB Method, which is my system for helping people figure out what they want and how to get it, because you can't get what you want unless you know what you want, right? Right. So every Sunday night, I host Goal Chat on Twitter, where we share our wins and goals and dive into a special topic. And then on Monday, I bring in a special guest to dive deeper into the topic. So this week's topic is showcasing your expertise, which it really doesn't matter if you have a business, if you are in business, if you're a consultant, if you're a writer. You need to let people know what you do so they can find you. And what better guest today than Bruce Jones? So Bruce is an author, product designer, educator, and all around, I like to help people figure things out guy. And Bruce, what did I miss from your bio? And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Deb. This is great. This is fun. This is our bi-coastal thing. We're on different coasts, so that's kind of cool. The little electrons going over.
The power of, and I was talking to someone in another country this morning, and I said, the benefit of now is there are more opportunities to hang out with people from around the country and around the world. So really thrilled to have you here, and I interrupted you, so go right ahead.
Oh, all right.
And Angela is watching already. Angela, welcome. And if you are watching us live, please say hi so we can say hi back to you. So Bruce.
Cool. So I am a graphic designer. That was my career. And I'm an author. I have over 50 books. They're right there. All those books right there. This is my newest book, How to Sell Your Book. And it shows you all the things I have learned over the last 10 years of creating all of those 50 books and helping a whole lot of other people. I have a really nice, cool Facebook group called How to Publish Your Book. We have 5,000 authors, self-publishers, and anything to do with publishing in that group. And so I do that stuff. I'm a product creator. I love creating products, and I use my graphic design skills to create lots of products that I still have over the years. So you can learn more about me as Debra is right there at Bruce Jones Design. There it is. Oop, and there's my book right there. So you can check all that stuff out. And that's the Facebook group, which is really cool, and I love people to come on over and ask questions. That's a great thing to do. So I'm graphic designer, author, product developer, and teacher. Books published, but also their products, and encourage people to use these amazing tools and experiment. That's what I love about the web. You can experiment and try all kinds of stuff. So if you have an idea, you can do it. So.
Well, and you know that's my philosophy, because just about anything is possible because you have all of these things at your disposal. So why not use them?
Right.
Oh
yeah, and I talk about that. I think there's sort of 5 barriers that have fallen, and there's now a 6th one. So for anybody who's like us, who wants to create things, so publishing has fallen, advertising, marketing, distribution, and so one I did broadcasting. So we're broadcasting globally, potentially globally right now for basically free. Publishing is using self-publishing and Amazon and print on demand. Marketing and advertising are the social media platforms that we have access to, and distribution, which is really what the print on demand is. We can send our products anywhere, and we don't have to have inventory or deal with all that e-commerce stuff. And then because of what's gone on in this past year, we are all become Zoomified. And so I think, which is a enormously cool thing for anybody like us who's broadcasting, is now people who were never comfortable with it, they don't want to be on it, now will be on it, or at least they'll access you and watch you. And they're willing to do that. And people who sort of just push that off, to be in the world, you need to be use these tools. And now there's so many people doing it that we can promote and sell our products and stuff using video. Video has caught up in bandwidth. People's acceptance has dropped down, so the resistance is gone. It just gives us enormous opportunities with all these different tools to really get your message out, get your products out, and do all that kind of stuff. So.
And you're kind of talking the topic backwards, which is fine. I like that because all these different tools you're talking about really serve to share your expertise, your business. What is the thing that you know that you want people to know you know and you know? And a big question, and this shows up in Gold Chat at least once a month, it's everybody has the imposter syndrome, the fear of, putting themselves out there. I say, if you know things, claim it and share it. What do you think?
Right. I think so, 100%. I'd say be proud and be loud is sort of the thing. Definitely. And if you know it, you will know it. I mean, if you know it, you will become comfortable. It's really the first couple broadcasts, if you're going to do it this way, are awkward and hard to do. But once you get past sort of number 2, 3, or 4, you will. You're going to be able to talk about your stuff and find your audience. In the beginning, nobody's watching anyway, so you have lots of room to do. You have lots of opportunity to make a mistake. And one of the things I've always loved about the web is it's fluid and changeable. So that if it's, we used to live in a world where things were really fixed. I don't know, if I pick up this flashlight, this is fixed. I can't change this. I can't change the color. I can't change the size.
You could paint it.
I could paint it, and it would peel off, and it would look bad, and it goes on and off. But so much of the world was like this, where things were fixed, and now, because of the web, you can, and print on demand and social media, all that, you can put stuff out. You can get it back. You can change it, and that means you can develop. You can learn. You put something out, you go, oh, that wasn't quite right. Let me pull it back. Let me fix it. Let me change it. And I think one of the hardest buttons for a lot of people is the publish button. And to push that button, whether it's on a blog, on a book, on a post, anything, sometimes it's just so hard for people to push that button. But the transformation and the knowledge of what it should be comes on the other side of the pushing that button. And then you go, oh, that's what I should have written. Well, we can go back and change that and fix it. So yes, it's scary publishing, but it's also easy to fix and change and make it correct. So
it's in my first, well, for those who don't know me, this is my 3rd book and first traditionally published book. I did self-publish too. I did Purple Pencil Adventures, writing prompts for kids of all ages, and Write on Blogging, 51 Tips to Create, Write, and Promote Your Blog. And for me, those were great learning experiences. And a lot of what you teach is self-publishing, and we can go back and forth because there are benefits to both. And it's a different conversation, but it's really even going the traditional route, hitting send on that email to send it, to either send out your book proposal or send in your final draft. I remember vividly the day that I sent my final draft of This into Mango, and it's nerve-wracking, but at some point you have to say, okay, this is good.
Right.
And rule number 1 I talk about a lot is, and I'm sure I'm going to say you subscribe to this as well, you have to be your biggest fan, because if you're not, where's everybody else going to come from? Right.
That's right. Right. And also I would add on to what you're saying is the perfection freezes progress, which is a phrase I have used for a long time. Oh, there's Keith. The perfection freezes progress is that it just holds us back from sort of moving forward. And it's the moving forward and pushing that send button or that publish button that makes everything work. It makes that you grow, you learn, you can move to the next step. We're always going to have all these obstacles on it, and they're going to get in the way. And sometimes you just have to step through it and just go with it. And nobody likes to be sort of going, oh, you're the guy that did this, or you're the girl that did that. But at some point you just own what you have, and you go, well, that was bad. Okay, I'll go on to the next one. And we live in a world of the Facebook and Twitter and things where the stuff just rolls on down. So there's more coming, and so I think just you need to just keep pushing if you're going to do it. So.
I am completely in agreement. One of my favorite phrases is "done is better than perfect." I like your phraseology of it. Perfection freezes progress. It has to be good enough and
Right.
professional enough for people to take you seriously, but at some point you have to be brave. You know, put
Right.
on your superhero cape or whatever it is that gives you that extra, you know, push and just say, okay, I'm happy with it. And I want to jump back to the whole imposter syndrome problem, because usually my response is if someone says, I'm afraid to put myself out there, I say, but there are people you could be helping and you can't help them unless they know you exist.
Right. And I would add to that, especially
Please.
if you're a business person or you have products, is that your competitors probably aren't doing it. That you're willing to step out, take that chance, spread your message. There are other people behind you who don't have those guts, and you get to be in front. You get to get people to see your product. And you can always go look at your competitors, because it's easy to find them. Just go into Amazon or go into Google, wherever it is, and see if they're creating videos and they're doing stuff. We seem like we're surrounded by, especially like people like me who do a lot of books and around a lot of books and have people with books. It thinks like everybody has a book because everybody I know has a book. In reality, it's very small number of people have a book, and so you can step out in front, and it gives you great advantage to go do things. But your competitors probably aren't doing it, and so that means you step out, you become the leader of your message, your tribe, by doing that. So
I love that. And you saw, you get to have the guts. It's like you get to. It's like this privilege, right?
Right.
So we said hello to Keith. We also have another guest joining us live, Yael Cohen. So hi. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to throw Angela on there, who says you're an awesome teacher. And the people who are in my Facebook group, which is Right On Online, whenever someone has a promo question, I just tell them to join your group. But if people in your group are listening and they want to have some fun with sharing their goals and wins and community, please jump on over to mine, which is Right On Online.
I was going to give you a plug. So you do something in your group where you post. This is a great strategy that I now have started to do, which is you post questions. And so one of the hardest things in the online world, in the Facebook world, is getting people to engage, get them to do something, like, post something, do something, like something. It's just, it's the same small group that does it. I have almost 5,000 people in my How to Publish group, but there's probably 100 in there that are active. And out of that 100, it's a rolling 20 that really, maybe even 10, that are active all the time. And it kind of rolls around in that group. So you, on your group, what I want you to do is you post questions constantly, sort of like, what was your win today? What is your goal tomorrow? What did you do that was successful? And you get a lot of engagement from people doing that. And so I picked that up and have now added it into my group, but not at the frequency that you're doing, because your frequency is a lot higher. But it works really, really well. And so I've done it now for the last 2 weeks, where one of them was to post. In fact, I made a little list in a sheet, which I hand out. But one was take a selfie picture with your book. Do this, and I did it. And
then
this. That's right. This is be loud and be proud. And I asked the people in my group to take a selfie picture with the book cover. And the first day, nothing happened. I did mine, so I can show, I can do it too. I have to walk my own walk. And then they've just been dropping in. All the different people have been holding up their books and, highlighting with the Amazon link, which is super important. So I just want to say that's a thank you to you for that idea, but it's a fairly easy, I just didn't think about it, to do. But it just helps with engagement of your group, but also all your people connecting with the other people that's in your group to see the things you're doing. So,
well, thank you. First of all, thank you. Second of all, what's really funny, because I do a different thing every day of the week. Sometimes I rephrase it, but it's pretty much networking goals Monday, goals Tuesday, blog share day, Wednesday, Toot Your Horn Thursday, Facebook Friday weekend plans. So it's it's setting the standard, it's setting the consistency. And I once had someone message me, "Is everything okay? You forgot to post blog share day." And I'm like, score me.
Oh.
When people are expecting, and that's why in consistency, again, another tangent, it's really important because when you're developing this community around your expertise, you want people waiting in anticipation. Ooh, when can I share my cool thing now? Deb hasn't put the link up. Because that's the only thing I switch around is I play with the different times of day that I share things because I can. And we have a question from Angela, or it's more like a suggestion. She wants me to ask you how you use everything to market your books. And I want to get there in a second. Before we jump in there, we're talking about what is your expertise, and I am all about community and connecting dots. So if you are watching either live or on the replay, please put in the chat, what is your expertise? Because a big reason I have these conversation starters in my group is you never know when you're going to make a match between two people who have a similar interest, or someone has a resource someone else needs. So please share in the chat, what is your expertise? Everybody knows mine, Goal Queen. And
I've got you doing that now, don't I? So
this is my new habit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce Jones.
Before we came on, I said, you're going to see me hold my book up a lot. But what this does is, one, promote your book, be proud of it, but also get your face connected to your book, that this is the you, this is your thing, and it kind of goes together. And no one else is doing it. No one on any other show is holding up your book. So it's to you to promote it. And you don't have to be like, over the top on it all the time. But the goal is you're trying to let people know that you have something. And, if I'm selling flashlights, I'm going to hold the flashlight up. So, woo.
Well, the other thing that I do that I am now known for on Zoom calls is giving gold stars. So if I'm in a networking event and someone shares some really good news, now it's like, yay, because everybody else has the thumbs up, and I just share the stars because if we were in real life, you would get one.
Right, you'd walk over and hand it to them, and that person would probably remember you for a long, long time if you did that. If you're at an event, some kind of a networking event or a conference or something, they would remember you for a long, long, long time if you did that. So,
well, in real life, I would go to conferences with those gold star stickers.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I have a Post-it notepad.
A custom Post-it notepad. Cool.
Yes. So we all know my expertise, Goal Queen. What is your well, we kind of know yours, but why don't you spell it out for us? And also the journey, how you went from book design guy to book promotion guy.
So
for lack of a better word.
If I had to say an expertise, if somebody said an expertise, implementation is definitely an expertise. It doesn't take me, like this afternoon, getting ready for this. I went onto my blog. I put, this product that we may talk about or may not talk about. It's on my.
Talk about it.
Yeah. I put a post up about it. I put a page up about it. So I just, because I have, as a freelance graphic designer for 30 years, one of the ways you're successful as a freelance designer is you have to be fast. You get to be, in order to make money and make a living at it, one of the keys is you need to really be able to move and really get stuff done. So that just translates into setting goals and knowing what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, that kind of thing. So I think that skill just translated into my own books and my own products. Still, things take a month or a year to do, but you can kind of do stuff. The journey to getting to do this, well, I set my goals. It seems kind of crazy, but I set my goals at around 5 years old, and so like we think back to what people often say, well, what is the earliest memory you have, and whatever that was. Well, mine was a goal to publish books, do something in TV and film and own my own business and make products. So it was really those four things. And I've done all of those things through my life. But the hardest one was the books, because I'm dyslexic. And so I'd flip things around, and writing was just an enormous struggle. I was the kid who made models in schools, or did a little play instead of the paper. In college, I had a professor who would flunk you if you put a comma splice in your paper. Well, I have no idea what a comma splice is. I have none. I have no idea. So I just eliminated all commas from my paper. And so there's no commas in anything I wrote, and it affected things for years and years and years. I said, well, it wasn't wrong not to have them. It was just wrong to have them. So I was like, well, hell with it. I'm just not going to put them in. And so I just kept pushing and pushing, and I really wanted to be able to write and do things. And so in my 50s, I started blogging. I started trying to do a blog. I said, I'm just going to try to push my way through this and try to figure it out. And I had a lot of people help at different times. And I took a course from an internet marketing guy, Jeff Walker, who people here may know. And he had us doing like a business plan. And he released the instructions in little tiny bits every day over a period of a couple of weeks. And you had to just fill in one little paragraph. So I did that. And by the time I got done with that process, for some reason, suddenly like a switch had gone off in my head and I could write. And I was like literally words were like coming out of my thing. It was like sort of the weirdest. I've had it happen with learning music, and I had it happen with words. The words one was, amazing. And so I just wrote and wrote and wrote. I just would write. I would take days off and just go to like the Brandeis Library or library study rooms. Every library has a study room. Just sit there and write. Just write. I took vacation to go write. Anyways, so that I did that, now I started to creating books and print on demand, and Amazon came online with the books, all kind of coincide around the same time. And so we published. I had an earlier book that I had published. I'll grab it. It's right behind me. It's right here. This was the very, very first book I ever did, Dinosaurs Dance. It's 1979. And I drew all the illustrations, and we published it in Boston. Nice. I need to republish it and stick it up on Amazon. But around this time when I sort of had this breakthrough in writing, I was also learning to play guitar, mandolin, ukulele, and banjo. And I put together this book. This is really the first sort of print-on-demand book that I did. And there's a couple of versions of it. But and this just sort of documented my journey of learning these instruments, which is a great way to write a book, is to document what you're doing and then just kind of put it together. And then this translated into lots of other books. And so I have music books, and I have a line of maps I use for business presentations and things that I designed. And those got turned into, they got turned into coloring books. I have a line of these. So coloring books, geography, all the kinds of, books like this and books like this. So it just, and then I did things like this, like, if you want more books, this is part of a series of 4. Well, just shrink them and make them like this. Now you have 8 books. It's the same book, just change the size. And I also learned a lot about, and something I teach a lot is repurposing your content. I'd say that some of my most successful books were not the original book. It's the book that came out of another book. So when I wrote this book, at the back of the book, to fill it up, I had put some sheet music pages. Then one day I went, oh, wait a minute. Why don't I just take 100 of those pages and I'll make a bigger book? And this book was the one that became the success. This one's okay, but this one was probably 5 times the sales of this one.
That's ridiculous.
So it's,
good, but ridiculous. But right?
And you just, so a couple messages out of that are, write whatever you feel like writing. Don't, I know that people say, to niche yourself down and be expert in that field, and that's what you write about. I would say, forget that. Write whatever you feel like writing, because you have no idea what's going to work. And if you have an interest and you just explore it and go for it, because you'll be surprised, that might be the one that people resonate with. It's almost impossible to figure out. What's the other thing I was going to say? Wait,
that's one. Is there more?
One. Yeah, I just had it in my head and I forgot it. But yeah, don't let people hold you back, and just put out there is that you just don't know, and then repurpose. Look at your material. You now have a new understanding of it from that book, and you can spin out into other books and other products. But yeah, it's just don't niche yourself down because it's oh, well, I know I was going to say yes. The second thing is about that is people are very narrowly focused, and just because you wrote a book on music doesn't mean if they discover you have a book on geography, they're going to go, I can't read that book because he wrote a book on music. People don't think that way. They just look for the products that interest them, that they want. And so it just gives you opportunity to explore, and we have these amazing tools to put it out there. So, repurpose is just huge. I've done so many things with repurposing, the products. So.
Okay, so we've got write whatever you feel like writing.
Yeah.
Repurpose. Is there a third thing?
Is there a third
thing? Or
thing?
just the two? I like threes. Don't you like threes? Threes are good.
Yeah. Three's good. Release. Yes, three's good.
Quick. Think of something.
Release in multiple formats would be a really key thing. So what that means is that we have the opportunity to release books in print, release them as ebooks, release them as PDF books, and audio books, maybe even a video book. In that, Amazon gives us the ability to do print and ebooks because now with Amazon, they want all images to be 300 dots per inch, whether you're an ebook or a print book. What that means is by the time you get done with one book, you are just about done with the other book. So release it, because again, you don't know what people are going to buy. And you may have said, I'm just going to do the print book. And actually all your audience wanted was the ebook. Most of my sales come from the print book because I do books, that you have to kind of fill in. But sort of it kind of makes it happen. But like this book, my new book, most of the sales for this book is coming in the ebook version. So you just don't know. And now I'm exploring audiobooks, which is also /podcast. Like you can podcast your book. You've made book once, you can just read this book chapter by chapter, and you have, I don't know how many chapters I have in here. I have, 12 chapters, but you have that's a 12 series podcast that you can do. So you can repurposing using different formats in different ways. That's super important, but just write whatever you want. You just don't know. That's the thing is you have no idea, and don't let people hold you back. And if you have an interest, and there's so many different formats and ways, so maybe you don't have enough for a big book, so release it as a PDF. One page, this is a book. One page is a book if it's a PDF and you're selling it as a PDF. So, start with one page. If you don't know what to do, but you can come up with 10 tips about something, take a Word file, write your 10 tips down, put your name at the top, your thing at the bottom, put your thing, make a little graphic of it, and put it up on your website or on Facebook or wherever, and sell that one tip. This might be the tip that saves somebody's life. This page. Probably not.
You don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. And if people buy the one page, oh, well, maybe I'll make it 2 pages. Maybe I'll make it 3 pages. But I didn't spend a year of my life trying to figure out whether this was a book that was worth it. I brought it out to the world. I released it to the world, release it in pieces. And if you have a website, you have a blog, you have a platform for selling your things, and you can test, does anybody care? And you can try it. Write one page and see if anybody cares. Each one of these little tips on this is the table of contents of a book I have. That's a podcast. That's a video. That's a blog post. You can test your material paragraph by paragraph before you ever move forward and made a book out of it. Wow.
And anybody who's read your goal guide or read articles by me knows that I am a huge fan of journaling and brainstorming. So if you don't know what you want to write, just do directed journaling, which is my make a bunch of 15-minute appointments with yourself on a certain topic and just dump everything out of your head and do this a few times, compare your notes and see what you have. It works well for everything, but it would be really applicable for what we're talking about here is if you want to write something to promote your expertise and you don't know what that is, directed, and I'll put that link, I wrote an article on it, I'll put that link in the recap as well. It's just getting that stuff that's in your head out of your head and onto the world. And that's really, I guess I'm putting a real fine point on it. That's what this is all about. Getting the stuff you know out there. You could do it in books and blogs and social media posts, and one idea can find 10 places that exist, right? Which goes to the next question. We're going to back up because both Angela shared her expertise. Bruce, I do that too. I totally do that too.
You just have to have fun. We only get this long. We only get this long, whatever this long, and then it's done. So, what? You didn't do this, so.
Exactly. So I want to shout out Angela, who's an artist, author, and business coach, and then I want to shout out to Yael, whose expertise is special education advocate in goats, and I'm sure you've got a great story, but throwing goats in there makes you super memorable. I'm going to remember the goats. And the work you do as an advocate is super important, but adding that to it, it's just, that's what's going to get people. I would read that book.
So Yael is a friend of mine. And when you talk to Yael, you only really hear about one thing, goats. She has to go help the goats. There's a communal goat group, and they go and there's all kinds of things about goats. And she made goat journals, and it's she does her job, which she does really, really well. But the other side is the goats side. So. But
what you're saying is you don't have to niche, but you totally can.
Nope, you certainly can, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying is that if you have interest in, don't limit yourself. Like if you have interest in, not that you should just write on everything willy-nilly. You can do that if you want, but I kind of do it. But whatever. I wrote a poetry book last night because I'm doing an experiment. But anyways, and I've never written a poetry book before. I just sat down and wrote it.
But you can.
But you can.
Have the platform.
You can. But you can be niched and be focused in your area, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that we all have a lot of interests. Yael's is the perfect example, and Angela's a perfect example. They give a list of things that they do, and we have interest in all of those different areas. So just go for it. So
we're talking about. So the next question up is, and if you're watching and you want to chime in on how you showcase your expertise, I mentioned before I have a book, I have a Twitter chat, I have a Facebook live show. I've got two communities, one for people reading your goal guide and one for Write On Online, which is goal setting and community, and webinars and talking. And you were talking before about now there are no barriers.
Right.
And I basically jumped in the pool of leading webinars because I've been talking about it for years. And when you can't meet people in real life, you just jump in the pool of webinars. So you share your particular expertise through books, but what are other ways in which you enjoy sharing what you know?
Video. Well, I certainly have a very large and active web presence. So, I have a number of blogs, more than I care, but I have two main ones, and I have Facebook groups. I have often I will make a series of books around a topic and then make a Facebook group or a quick blog about that group. Social media. What else do I do? But I also, that's just, the book side of me. I have, I love making products of all kinds, and I design. I can show you the cards right here. It's easier. And so I drew in 1990. There it is. I drew all the states, counties, countries, continents, regions of the world, and turned it into a map product that's editable, which means you can change the colors. So people doing business presentations of any kind, whether you're a business, nonprofit, schools, homeschooling, everything, You can make map sheets. You can use them in PowerPoint. You can do all kinds of things with them. And that led me down a path of, because it's easy to repurpose these digital files into lots of things that might, probably my big interest is I'm fascinated by how people make money. I just think it's so interesting, these sort of very weird and varied ways that people do this. But also that interest translates me into exploring lots of different ways of making money. So I will take the artwork from those maps and make products, make PDF sheets, make hats, mugs, T-shirts. We can, if you want to be in the apparel line, you could be in an apparel line by the end of this call. You can have a line of T-shirts. If you want to be a fashion designer, you can just go and do it. So many of these things are available that I find it just so fascinating that if I want to sell flashlights by the end of this call with my maps on them, we could go and do that. Water bottles, it just doesn't, it's easy. So I'm just fascinated by all that ability to access this stuff, and also fascinated by, which is what I realized right away. And when I went online in 1995 is when I first accessed into the web. Al Gore was just, sitting next to me. And I realized that we had this ability to reach the entire global community. We're so usually focused on our neighborhood, but we can reach the whole world this way. And now with the Facebook and tool, all those tools, now we literally reach, 2 billion to 3 billion people. So that's sort of, I just like to spread out into all the different ways that I can do that. So whether it's using social media, using blogs, using video, using, product things, and then what can I feed into that system to do that kind of stuff. So
it's really kind of fascinating, the fact that you and I have been online for a while, you more so, but last year anybody who was resistant to being online also kind of got kicked into the pool, because this is where your people are. And you get to, and we met because of this. We met because I'm in an international networking group with Keith, who made me an honorary Bostonian. I'm in LA about for your Boston Internet Marketing Group. So it's really, the sky's the limit, because, and you could do more of that because you don't travel, you don't drive, you don't have to park. It's really just easy to put yourself in a position to meet new people and make new connections. Right. And so I want to jump, now we're going to jump forward. Because, and you alluded to this before, and you were talking about what you're teaching this week and what advice do you have for sharing one's expertise. And if you are watching live or the replay, please share your 2, 3, 4 cents as well. But you have a really cool system for just getting the ideas with your expertise out of your head and onto the page. But we're doing rapid fire. I want to know how quickly you can just lay it all out there for people. Okay, so here we go. Yep, I'm ready. All right, so this is method. I'm now finally have a name for it, called the Easy Book Creation. I've struggled with the name of it, but this is the process. And Deb, I want you to do this while we're doing this. Okay. Take a piece of paper or your phone. I always have paper. I always have paper. And I want you to write down, everybody out there, write down the number one question you get asked. So this is, I don't want you to think too long about it. Just, we all get asked a certain question all the time. I want you to just write that question down. It could be a question. It might be a tip you're always giving out. It might be your first person. It's a piece of advice you're giving out. Just whatever that number one thing is that you are always being asked, that like, how do I do what? What is that thing? So write that thing down and tell me when you've written that down. And just one sentence. Don't do any more than one sentence. Now, so tell me you have that, right? Oh, do you want me to answer it? Yeah. Answer it. Because I know what stops people from achieving your goals. Okay, so write that down. Goals. You write it down. Because the important part is you have to write it down. But I wrote the book. Oh, I know. It's all right. So now give me the number 2. We're not gonna go through all 10. Give me number 2. What's the number 2 question that people do?
that you might ask you, or tip, or something that you do. So that's everybody out there. Just write down that number. That's that second thing that people ask you. And you know what it is. You don't have to think. Deb, tell me what yours is. I'm putting you on the spot here.
You totally are. Well, okay, so what stops people from achieving their goals? What can people do to achieve their goals?
Okay, so we have number 1 and we have number 2. 1 and 2. So when you get a moment, you're going to do 3 through 10, all right? But that's you can go do that off on your own. So now what you're going to do is, so now you're going to have 10, 12 sentences. And these are the main questions that people ask you. When you have a moment, I want you to write down 1 paragraph for that 1 sentence. Not 2 paragraphs, but just 1 paragraph. For the first one, for the second point, the third point, the fourth point, the fifth point. Do all 10 of them. And when you finish that, come back and write 3 to 5 paragraphs on that thing. And we're going to do this in this sort of 1 through 10 order, because what happens is that we're thinking horizontally. Most people write vertically. You know, I was born here and I did this here and I went that way. And they go this way with their ideas. And what I want is to go this way with the ideas, because idea number 9 will go, oh, you know, that actually, wait a minute, number 3 should be written like this. Oh, and number 5, oh, that's number, you'll fix them, but you haven't gone too far. So you write 1 sentence, you write 1 paragraph, you write 3 to 5 paragraphs. When that's done, and 3 to 5, somewhere around there, you stop, right? That's it. That's the book. Now, what you do is on the front end, you add an intro. On the back end, you add your bio, your services, your products, anything you want to sell, because this is not a manifesto. This is a business help book type thing to get you going. It's a book about this big. And this is a good example. This is a friend of mine. His name is John Gorham, because I'm on the spot and I forgot his name. Went blank. I had him do this as a legacy book. John was a single parent. His wife died right after their daughter was born. He raised his daughter. And this is a letter to his daughter about his life. And we sat and had this exact same conversation. And I said, okay, what I want you to do is put pivotal moments of your life. Like, what's a transition moment or an important, not that you were born here. She knows when you were born. What did you do here? What's a transition? That kind of thing. And he put down 10 of them and then filled them in. So you can do it as a legacy also. So you put all those pieces together, that's your book. It's done, right? That's it. That's your book. Your book title is the number 1 question. That's your book title. So that becomes the title. Each of those other questions, those single sentences, those are the table of contents, because they're descriptive, they're to the point, and they solve a problem, right? You're answering a problem. Boom, 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 boom. You'll get that edited. You'll have a cover made. Put it together, maybe add some illustrations, flesh it out a little bit, and print it ebook, print it regular, and you have a book. And you end up with something, you know, about this size, right? These are giveaway books that you give to you can even call it 10 tips to change your world. 21 ways, right? So these are books that you're going to use. This is for lead generation. This is a book you're going to give out. You'll make a PDF. You'll send it out. It's the thank you book. It's the introduction book. This is your brochure, your business card. That's what this is. And you don't even have to go and print it on Amazon. You can print it at your local copier like this. This is what we did in Word. He just had it stapled like that, called saddle stitch. And there you go. That's it. That's the process. That's how fast you can do this. You can do this dictating it. You can do it dictating it on your phone, on Google Docs. All the modern word processing programs have an audio version. You can do it into your phone and record it and send it up to rev.com or Timmy and have it transcribed. And you could do this in a weekend. At the end of a weekend, you'd have a book. That's how fast you can do this process. If you don't have ideas, you've gotten up to 7 and you run out of ideas, you can go onto Google and look at the people ask questions section of Google. You can go onto Amazon and go into table of contents of competing books and see what they've written about and go, oh, I forgot to write about that. Good, I'll rephrase it to be this. So and when I teach this, I talk about some of the ways you can do it, but you can go find the stuff. If you're like, I'm stuck, I don't know where else to write about at 7. The other thing I tell people to do is take a little notebook. I carry this in my pocket all the time. I have one of these little moleskin books. It could be a piece of paper. It can be your phone. And just over the course of a month or two, write down all the questions you get asked at work. If this is going to be like a work or professional book, that's a question somebody asked me. They ask, where's the men's room? Right? Just write it down. You're not worrying about it being don't edit. The thing is, don't self-edit. That's a huge thing in all of this. Because when you're done with that month or two and you go, oh, my book's all filled up, I guess I have enough. You take it, cut them up in little pieces, put them in little piles and go, okay, well, I guess that's how they see me. Because remember, this isn't about how you see yourself. This is about how the world sees you. You're the expert in something. You may not know what that is, and you can use this process to figure out, what is the question people ask me? I can't even think about it. At the end of a month, you'll know, because they're going to ask you over and over the same question. And you'll go, well, I guess that's what I am. Okay. And then you can embrace it. So
this is, and I'm not gonna edit you, but I'm gonna edit you because first of all, I love the process because it works. And you can use it for this freebie that you want on your website. You can use it to create an audio versions of whatever. You could actually use this for a traditional book. If you're having trouble figuring out, if you have a story to tell, things to share, you can use this process for anything. And I said before, I'm this huge fan of journaling and brainstorming and throwing everything out there and then looking it over, analyzing it, see what works for you. This is a great process. It's an excellent way to figure out what your next thing is.
Right.
And it could be something, and I always talk about this creative project that constantly gets ignored that I totally have to use this for because it's this stuff, and the way you talk about it's fun. And that's the way you need to look at this. This is a tool you can use for a book for Amazon, a book for your website, something that you want to get published traditionally, or you can use it just for content.
Just do it. Yeah. And what I'll say is, say you don't know quite what is resonating to the world. You've done this process. If you put this onto a blog in these nice, tight, compact, sort of focused questions, you put them up on a blog as individual posts, which I recommend. Your blog either has its own stats or you have Google Analytics on those stats. And what you will see after that month is one of those things is where everybody went to. One of those questions is the key question. And you just have to look at your stats and go, look at that. That's the one everybody wants. I guess that's the one I need to answer, that one. If you can't quite figure out which one I want to do, just let the power of Google and people just floating around, put that out there. So it's a very easy way to sort of bring, as you just said, bring some analysis to this from the world's biggest, analyst. It's a lot. But anyways, from the people who are masters in analyzing data, let them tell you what's the order you should put these things in. Maybe they need to be flipped around. You think, the order isn't necessarily important until you sort of figure out which one where's the flow going through it. So yeah, use the tools that are there, and there's amazing tools, and Google sends people almost immediately. You will know pretty quick. Yeah. You will know you'll go, wow, look at that. I didn't realize that. Very quickly, you'll realize what's going on. So.
Wow, I feel like, normally I give a bonus goal, but you kind of just did. So the bonus goal, and I'll put this in the recap, which you can go to the debmethod.com/blog. The recap will be up tomorrow, but the bonus goal is to just do this, to write. You don't have to do the whole thing, but write like the 10-question outline.
Right. Just
that works?
That works.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in the chat so everybody who's watching, and then because once you have the 10-question outline, you could do whatever with it.
Right. You can make videos, they're podcasts. You just talk on it, but do it in the slow method. Don't try that. The key is don't take it all the way. Like do them kind of, in smaller chunks, because you're going to be things are going to influence each other. So that's, you can kind of do that. So that's the key, is that we tend to take, what happens is you burn out. You go too far and it's too polished, and I can't undo that because I've got such a great, well, that idea may not relate to the other one. So you need to kind of ease it up. as it's going. So.
And the other thing that you mentioned a while ago, which bears repeating, so I will repeat it, is stop self-editing. Just
Right.
get all that out of your head, because that's why so many people have one chapter of a book written.
That's right. It's amazing what happens when it's on a piece of paper. Years ago, I went to a conference in San Diego. It was at the Hard Rock Hotel, and my plane was later in the day. And I had this book idea in my hand that I wanted to work on. And so I went down to the cafe and the cafeteria, the coffee shop that was at the hotel. And I said, can I just have a table and sit here for about 6 hours? I'm just going to write. And you can bring me coffee and then food. I made sure I gave a great tip, and I just ate a number of meals there. But I said, I just need one place I can sit. And you just bring me stuff. And I sat there and I had my research material, I had everything I did, and I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. I didn't edit. I didn't do the self-editing. The self-editing really hammers your creativity. Like, one tip that I know people, that's a very common one, is write today, edit tomorrow. Like, do not edit. Some say don't change the spelling, don't change anything. There's the whole the timer. Have you ever heard of the kitchen timer method?
I talk about it all the time.
Right. Set the timer for 10 minutes and write. And if you can't figure it, if nothing's coming, just start writing blah, 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 and let the brain catch up, and you'll go, oh, now I know where we're going. Just do that. So.
Oh, I have a version of it. I say not to write blah, 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 but you can write your grocery list. You can write your to-do list. But when you have, and I usually say 15 minutes, but when you have these 15-minute self-imposed appointments, I mean, you can write the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog and see what the lazy dog did next, and start your creativity. The other, and this brings to mind something else that I think is really helpful, is to have two projects going at once. Because if you're stuck on one, you can write the other, and if you get and then you can jump back and forth. So that way you're always moving forward on something.
Well, you know about what Lin-Manuel, how do you pronounce his name, who wrote Hamilton? Lin-Manuel, and you know the guy I mean.
Yeah.
So
great. Now we're both like.
But he had two projects. He wrote Hamilton, and he wrote is it Mulan? He wrote one of the Disney films at the same time, and he would just Manuel
Miranda. I looked him up.
Yeah. Miranda. So he had, nobody knew it. Everybody thought, oh, this guy's a genius. He wrote this unbelievably play, Hamilton, which is incredibly complicated and with unbelievable lyrics and dialogue and stuff. Well, he was writing another one at the exact same time. He just, okay, I'm done with that for the moment. I'm going to switch over here, put my brain over here, and I'm going to bring my brain over here. So I always have 5 or 6.
20.
Huh?
You have 20.
I have probably 20. Yeah. Probably 20.
Okay, somewhere between 2 and 5, I think, is good. Is a good number of balls in the air at once. Yeah. And even if it's something else you can do, you can have the 2, and then just a list of the things you're going to do next. And if you're stuck on your 1 and your 2, you could just brainstorm your ideas for your next thing.
Right. One of the things I do, I have ideas all the time. And what I'll do is something idea worthy. So I will come. I used to walk to my work when I used to work. So I used to. Some say I've never retired. I would walk to work, and that was my time for my brain to go, oh, this is thinking time about things. I didn't talk on the phone. I didn't listen to music. I just did my walk every day to work, and I come up with ideas. And what I did was often would go into the office and register a URL around that idea. If I was still a year later working on that idea, that meant it had some stick to it, and I wanted to work on that. That was something that excited me. A lot of ideas just faded away, and I just let them go because they just didn't have the energy for me to continue on with them. So I let the process of ideas come and let them fail and fall away, and not worry about how I didn't get to that thing. It was never meant to be. I just put my energy on the ones, and I let sort of the day and the world and what I feel about it push these things forward. And it's pushed forward a lot of stuff, but there's probably 10 times this has just fallen to the wayside, and I just don't care. it's gone. So that's okay. So.
So the other link that I put in there is because I did a mini Start 2021 Now interview with you, because that was one URL I was stuck on, which was start2021now.com. And some people are still starting 2021 now. But your motto that you gave was make stuff, sell stuff.
Right.
And that's really, if we were if we were really to like gather everything you said today and put it in a nice little box, it's going to be, you want to showcase your expertise, make stuff, sell stuff. Boom.
Right. That done. Yep. That's it. Make stuff, sell stuff. There's so many tools, so many ways that they're just sitting at our feet, and it's just gotten so much easier. And just try it. Just see what happens, and you will be surprised. You will have no clue that's something that, this thing that you just thought as a whim is the one that took off, because you just don't know. So you got to put it out there, see what happens. And the validation of it is that somebody puts money on it, that they'll buy it. That's when you know that there's some value. It may not be, you may not want to go further with it, but you'll know there's some validation because somebody else also thinks there's something valuable in that product. So
wow. So my brain is like exploding, which is great. I love that. No, it's just, there's so many things that you can take from this conversation, and to not overwhelm yourself if you're watching live or the replay, do the bonus goal, right? And then just pick one or two of these things, and even a little bit of it at a time, incorporate it into your life, into your schedule, devote the time to create something new, to showcase your expertise, and then run with it, roll with it, see what happens.
Right. So, yeah, give a little chunk. Even if you look at what Google does, I can't remember whether it's 10% or 20%, but Google gives their employees a percentage of their day to do whatever they feel like doing. And a lot of the products that Google that we use, like Gmail, and I think Google Analytics, some of the other couple of them. I know Gmail is one of them, and there's other ones. Those are things that just somebody in their office just went, I have an idea, I'm going to try this. And because they gave them the freedom, so you can do that in your own life. Just pick an hour on Friday morning, your 15-minute goals. Just come in 10 minutes earlier on something. It's amazing what you can accomplish with just some sort of just focus on, and just try it and do it every day or do it every now and then. And you'll be amazed. It will build up, and you'll go, wow, I didn't realize I could do that. So.
Okay. So now we have a second bonus goal, which is give yourself the freedom to explore your new ideas. And we're going to do one more shout out to Angela. I'm going to say a few things and we're going to wrap up, but she entered a competition using a book she wrote 11 years ago. You don't know when the timing is right for your stuff or for whatever. So just go with it, be at one with what you love, and share it with the world.
Right. Okay,
so bonus goal number 2. Give yourself the freedom to explore new ideas. First bonus goal is, where did it go? It's here somewhere. First bonus goal is write the 10 question outline. And maybe from there you'll have one of the things for bonus goal number 2. Bruce, this has been so much fun. Oh my goodness. Did you have as much fun as I did? Probably more.
Yes. Oh, I love doing this stuff. This is great. It's just like it's a brain dump. You just go and just, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so to help people one more time where they can connect with you, I will wrap us up and then we'll give a final thought. But so where can people find you?
So there are two great places. One is brucejonesdesign.com. You can see right there where it is. That's the address on the screen. And so all things about me are there, and my new projects and all my books and things are listed there. And then right here, the Facebook group, How to Publish Your Book. I usually say this is the place to come meet me. Just search on how to publish your book. Facebook will feed it up to you. Come on over, join the group. And it's artists and writers and self-publishers and everybody sort of doing things around publishing. It's a great place to ask questions, and we're engaged. We're always engaged. We're in there all the time. You can ask Angela. She's a great member of that group, and she puts stuff out there all the time. So it's that's it. Those are the two best places. So
wonderful. And then I'm gonna real quickly also put up the link to Write On Online Facebook group. Well, it's in here somewhere. It was here a second ago, and then I got distracted by the great conversation. And so join Bruce's group.
Oh, there
If you're not already a member, please join Write On Online. If you're reading your goal guide, there's also, it's facebook.com/group/your goal guide. And if you want to learn more about me and my book, go to thedebmethod.com. It's all about me. And if you're interested in learning more about your goal guide, yourgoalguidebook.com will take you to the Amazon page, or you could just find it at your favorite bookstore. Bruce, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you everybody for watching live. Again, I'm Debra Eckerling. I am author of Your Goal Guide and founder of the DEB Method, my system for helping you define, plan, and achieve your goals. And please connect with me. I'm at the DEB Method everywhere. And you can find me every Sunday night on Twitter at 7 p.m. for Goal Chat. And I will be back next Monday and every Monday at 4 p.m. on the Mango Facebook page for another amazing guest and a wonderful Goal Chat Live. So, Bruce, thank you.
Thank you.
Listeners, thank you. Remember, whatever your expertise, whatever your goals, you can do it. We're rooting for you. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.